we just talked about risk management. The least risky thing that you can do in this Bitcoin banking stuff is probably what you're hearing about, because you said it was like 10% a year.
Yeah,
something
I mean,
they were saying.
I tried to find one and I couldn't because people keep sending them to me.
BlockFi
Maybe
is one of
that's
the ones. They sponsor all the big Bitcoin podcasts. I don't use that, but here's the way I don't think those are scammy. I don't think that those are like super high risk. But the way I look at it is, I lost a lot of my Bitcoin in Mt. Gox.
Oh, that sucks.
Not your keys, not your coins. I learned that lesson, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think, for my risk profile, it's worth the 10% a year to potentially lose my Bitcoin. So I don't think it's any different than you having your Bitcoin or your dollars in, doing second mortgages, where like maybe you're wealthy and you have a little bit extra money sitting in the bank and it's earning you 0.01% interest rate or whatever, and you want to make a return. Well, you can actually get 8, 10, 12% interest on a second mortgage, like doing second mortgage loaning to people. So a friend of ours that's in the MMT group, Jeff House and Diana House, they do this in Canada. And so I tried this out with them this year, and it's actually pretty decent. Like I'm getting like a 9% return on after fees, because they take fees to manage it for me. They're like my mortgage crypto person, so yeah. Like this guy wanted to buy 20 houses in the area here in Ontario, and he's not going to be able to get 20 mortgages from the bank or one big mortgage for these like secondary homes he's doing, this business he's doing. So for some reason, he's willing to pay us 12%. The syndicate of investors that Jeff and Diana are managing. So I threw a little bit of money in. I'm a small percentage of the pool, but I just wanted to see what it was like. Can you actually get 9% interest on loans? And so this guy's got this business and he's doing Airbnbs or whatever he was doing. And I thought we were going to get wrecked when the pandemic happened. I thought, oh, great, I just lost all that money. But the dude's actually doing okay. Like he's still paying his monthly interest. So I'm making like 9% interest on that. Now, I only will put, say, like 5% of my net worth towards this strategy, because there is a risk that this guy's actually going to lose the houses, and we're going to have to try to, because we have legal rights to the properties, but if that happens, it's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And you could lose some of your principal. So I'm not going to take all of my money and give it to them to do these risky loans with, the same way I wouldn't take all of my Bitcoin and give it to the guy that runs BlockFi or any of these other companies. But I do think it's a legitimate thing. And hey, if you want to make an extra 10% on your Bitcoin and take the risk of somebody like losing your Bitcoins, just be aware that it's risky, right? Like just be aware that it's like, but you could potentially lose it. And I don't think it's worth it, because I see the potential upside of holding my own Bitcoin keys as 100x in 10 years. And why would I want to like risk 100x for 10%? Mm-hmm. Even if the risk is small that these guys are going to bail and leave and take off. So I just don't recommend people use them, just because it's not for me.
Yeah, of course. It's like scary.
If you want to take a small percentage of your Bitcoin and try it out or whatever, I don't think it's that risky. And especially there's one called Unchained Capital now, where they've developed this protocol where you hold it's like multi-sig. So you can actually hold a signature to the key so they can't exit scam you.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. This is 8.6. BlockFi is 8.6% per year, as seen in Bloomberg and CNBC and Forbes, which you can definitely just pay to get into, and Cheddar. Yeah. So interest-bearing crypto interest account, our BlockFi interest account lets you put crypto to work and earn monthly interest payments in the asset type that you deposit. So you earn Bitcoin or ETH or US dollar coins.
I just wonder, what are these guys doing to generate those returns? Like, how do you get that kind of size return? And then that's why I shared the story of me doing the mortgage lending, because I mean, I would wonder, like, why is somebody going to pay me 9-10% to loan money on a property? I guess people make rational decisions, but maybe it is rational. Maybe they discovered a way to like make a good profit and they just for some reason, they're making that decision to pay me 9% on the loan, right?
I mean, first of all, it's up to that amount. And then also, it seems like they probably I know they give crypto-backed loans. So there's some profit there. Crypto-backed loans allow you to access liquidity without selling. Use your crypto as collateral, unlock up to 50% of the value in US dollar.
That is a cool feature that I do recommend people use. So there's the company here in Canada called Ledin, and my sister has actually used them, the same sister that thought she was going to jail from the CRA scam. Mm-hmm. So the cool thing about the Bitcoin loan is, like, let's say you're holding 20 Bitcoin, right? And you've been holding since $1,000 and you think it's going to go to $100,000. So you're long Bitcoin, right? You don't want to sell right now, but you maybe need to pay for some expenses. You got some new podcast gear or something you need to buy or whatever. You need $10,000. And you don't want to take a loan at the bank. You don't want to sell your Bitcoin because that 10,000 is probably going to be 100,000. And you don't want to be the guy that sold his Bitcoin for pizza and that pizza is now a $10 million pizza. So you're thinking, like, what can I do? Should I sell some Bitcoin? Should I just get a loan from the bank? Okay, so these companies like Ledin and BlockFi and stuff, they allow you to deposit your Bitcoin. So say you put 2 Bitcoin with them, right? And now you've got $20,000 worth of Bitcoin deposited with them. You're actually taking a loan of $10,000 backed by the 2 Bitcoin. So the price could crash like 50% and you're still safe. And you got $10,000 now. You didn't sell your Bitcoin. You just took an advance on it temporarily and you do whatever you need to do with it. Now, if you think Bitcoin's going to 100K, then you will then have $200,000 worth of Bitcoin collateralizing this loan. And if that happens, you can just write down the loan so that you'll end up getting back like 1.8 Bitcoin or something rather than your full 2 when you pay back the loan. So you got your 10K, you didn't sell any Bitcoin, you just lost a little bit of Bitcoin because you're paying interest the whole time. And the interest is pretty high. It's like 10% or 12%.
It's 4.5 it looks like here.
That's to earn, I think. To borrow against your crypto, I think you pay like a 10 to 12% interest rate yearly.
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really looked like at the fine print here, so to speak. So, yeah, so you basically need like 5. Here, there's a loan calculator. I'm curious. It sounds like we're doing a commercial for them, but I am curious how this works.
Well, my sister's doing it now, and yeah, you keep looking at it, though. I can give you some insight as you go.
Yeah, so if I want to borrow 55 grand, they need 12.05 Bitcoin from me.
Which is worth like 100 and what? 100.
That's worth $115,000.
Okay,
US dollars.
So you're over collateralizing it by 2x almost.
Yeah.
Or it looks like more than 2x. And that's because Bitcoin's so volatile that there's probably a good chance in the next 2 years, we're going to see another 50% drop in Bitcoin at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to get liquidated, so you want to have it over collateralized. So when Bitcoin goes down 50%, if you just gave them 1 Bitcoin and then, or say in this $55,000 example, if you gave them the $55,000 worth of Bitcoin at this point, which is like 5.5 Bitcoins or something, if the price dropped, they have to sell your Bitcoin on the market and then you just have no Bitcoin anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's why they want you to over-collateralize, and that's why you want to over-collateralize too, because if you're long Bitcoin and you think it's actually going to be $100K to $1 million in the future, you don't want to lose out on that upside because you didn't put enough in there. But it gets very expensive as the price drops, because then when the price drops, you still need to be 2x over-collateralized. So let's say you've got a $55,000 loan, you're depositing $115,000 now, right? So for easy numbers, you're taking a 5 Bitcoin loan, you're getting 50,000. You're putting 10 Bitcoin in, right? The price drops, so that 10 Bitcoin is now only worth 50,000. Your loan is 50,000. You got to deposit another 10 Bitcoin to keep it good.
That's right.
So it's like, if you're really playing this game, you better have a lot of Bitcoin to keep throwing in, because as the price goes down, you're going to get liquidated and you're going to lose all your Bitcoin unless you keep doubling up. So it's very risky if you think that the price of Bitcoin is going to be continually volatile and you're using like your whole stash.